we actually have a new GTA, and instead of, where did I put that card? Uh, well, let's just go through the specs with the new GTA. There's our Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. quote. Mola is our new GTA. The guy that we had for the on Monday, he's been switched over to a different class, and Mola's been switched in here. It happens. Anyways, Mola is in the Nanoscience Center. He's a GTA for physics. He's from Bangladesh, and this is where his hometown is. This little red dot right there, Janida, Bangladesh. One of the one of the smartest places in Bangladesh, and that's where he's.
Capital city,
Yeah.
Dhaka.
So anyway, so he's going to be grading with us our homework and stuff and exams, and welcome. So let's give him a hand. Okay.
So I will grade your homeworks and all the exit papers. So if you ever have any problem with your grades, so just contact me, email me, or I have my office time Friday at 10:30 to 11:15 at PSB 158. So you can just come and
I'll
see.
put that in our opening slide so you have his office hours too. Good. All right, man.
Thank you.
Great.
See you
I'll see you
Friday next
Friday.
week.
See you on Friday. Good. Bye-bye.
Take care.
No, he's got stuff to do, so he's just going to be here for a minute. Yeah, so Bangladesh, cool. Let's get down to business with the pull out your syllabus if you haven't already done so. And let's just go through the specs. You know, basic specs. Let me bring this mic down a little bit. It's a little hot. All right, that's better. My office is room 156 in the physical sciences building, but I actually hold office hours one door away from there in room 158. So my telephone number there, 823-6286. But take your syllabus and just, scratch that out because it's not a good way to contact me. I go weeks before I check because I'm on Skype and I don't use it and it doesn't work very good. And so it's a very unreliable way to contact me. So don't do that. Also, email is no good ski. Do not contact me through email. And a few of you have done that, but after today, I'm not going to answer any email. Simply because there's so many of you, and also for the fact that I cannot talk about grades and stuff on email. It's not considered secure. But web courses messaging is considered secure since both of us sign into that and it's secure all the way through. So use web courses messaging. A few of you have done that already. And as a side note, let me just point out a thing that, has to do, come on down, find a seat, don't sit in the back there. Come on down, just, make yourself at home. Anywhere you want, but not in the aisle. I don't want anybody in the aisle. No, come on down somewhere. And you in the aisle, don't sit there. Just come on down, it's all right. Make yourself at home. Come down, sit in the front. What? There's seats all over. There's seats all over the place here. Come on, use your X-ray vision. Anyways, look, if you come in a little late and you have to, kind of protrude your way to a seat, that's all right. Just try to get here on time the next time. All right, now don't step on anybody's feet. Otherwise, we'll be in a court of law. And just find a spot. Good. We're going to be full. I mean, it's always going to be like this. This class is completely fully subscribed. Anyways, one other thing I was going to talk about web courses messaging. Couple things. If you have a question about a homework problem, that's not private. That's just like, how do you find this acceleration? How do you calculate this angle and stuff like that? When you have a question of that kind, do not message me in the inbox messaging. Use discussions. And I'll see it there. I check all the time. And I'll make a comment, maybe give you some tips on how to finish the problem. And your classmates, the rest of you, if you see somebody, with a thread that says, "How do you get number 7 on homework 4?" And how do you get the acceleration or whatever it happens to be? Go ahead and give them tips if you already know how to do it. But don't give them the answer. Don't totally give it away. But just give them tips. Another thing, if you do want to discuss something private with me, and that would be something on the order of your grades or your pronouns or anything really. Use web courses inbox messaging, and that's fine. And because as I said, it is considered private and secure as well. So that's good. My office hours are going to be 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock on Tuesdays, and in room 158. Now that's right by the main entrance to the physical sciences building. All right, so you go in the entrance, you turn left, bing, you're right there. Okay, and then my regular office, there's only like space for like 2 or 3 students in my regular office. So I use 158. It's like a solarium. It's very nice, lots of chairs, marker boards and stuff. They set it up just for me when they built the building. And we'll have our office hours in there. It's much nicer. Course description, we've already gone through that. Textbook, it's the free textbook, College Physics. And we'll be going, I don't know, up to about chapter 13 or so in that OpenStax.org textbook. Now, about that, I have some things I want to show you. Here's the page where you click to get to the textbook. And I've set it up so that you can use either the customizable UCF version, which is on the WordPress server here at UCF. Apparently, they're using WordPress for as many things as they can right now at UCF. And our textbook is there. It's free, and I'll be putting comments and notes as soon as I get the hang of it, anyways. I'll be able to put comments and notes relative to our lectures, what we talk about, and homework problems in that version. Now, the other version is the one on the right. That's the generic version that anybody can use across the country. And it's the same text, it just is not customizable. So either one you want to use is fine. And if you want to use both. By the way, you can buy a PDF, I think, or download a PDF, and you can actually buy an EPUB version of the book, and you can actually buy a hardcover or a paper version of the book through the OpenStax.org website. I don't know how that works, but if you want to mess around with that, you sure can. So you click one of them open, and it looks like this, College Physics. And then here's the bottom of the page. And you click down here at the bottom where it says read books. So you click on that, and then you get to the book. You get the preface, and you get to the table of contents over on the left. And let's take a look at chapter 2. All right, so here's a random page from chapter 2 talking about displacement and stuff. And being as how I asked you to start reading chapter 2, I have a clicker question for you now. So take your clicker out and turn it on. And if you do not get a go nitro message, that means you're not on the right frequency. Hold the power button down until the rectangle in the upper left flashes, and then type in DD. And you'll get a check mark, and then it'll say go nitro, and then you're good. Okay, and we're just going to do one question here. And if you've done a little bit of reading in chapter 2, this is from the very first part of chapter 2. Here we go, question 1 for today. Let me get my clicker back over here. Come on, baby. symbol delta. Wow, a lot of you guys are clicking. Nice. And by the way, I'll be synchronizing the roster right after class. So if you've registered through web courses, I'll pick it up as soon as I synchronize, and you'll get a bonus point for today. Okay, 10 seconds to vote. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, 120. That's very, actually, let me vote too. Oh, what's the answer here? Okay. That's about 40% of class. Great. So if you don't have your clicker today, I'll try to get it for Friday, and we'll have another bonus point if you're registered. Okay. And the official date for starting is right after Martin Luther King. You know, Monday of Martin Luther King Day, we don't have classes. But that Wednesday we'll have class, and that'll be the official start of clicking. Now, which is the answer? Well, the way to figure out the answer is to actually have read the book, and this is the part of the book where you can read the answer specifically down here at the bottom. In the text, in this text, the uppercase Greek letter delta always means change in whatever quantity is refers to. So delta x means change in position on the x-axis, which traditionally is left and right, but you can make it whatever axis you want. All right, so there's our clicker question for today. And we'll do some more clicking. I can't tell you how many clicker questions we'll do in a given day. It might be 1, it might be 0, it might be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It just depends on what I feel like doing. All right, now let's keep going with the syllabus. And here we go. So, okay, so the textbook's OpenStax homework policy. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to have one written homework per week to turn in. It'll be graded, and it'll be returned by the following Monday, if not sooner. All right? And so everybody, not this Friday, no, but starting next Friday, you'll have a written homework problem to turn in. And I may assign it on Monday or Wednesday. So if I assign it on Wednesday, that means you're going to have to, really work. But it's only one problem. And you can work on it with your classmates, in your groups, your labs. Hey, are labs going this week? Okay, so I know a bunch of students were asking about it. So yeah, go to your labs. Yeah, so just work on them. And it helps to work with a friend, and it'll help you both become sharp and smart about physics and other concepts. And then on the exam, you got to work by yourself, of course. But then that's why we're doing homework, to prepare you to show me on exams what you can do. Okay, exam policy. Exams are mandatory, and you cannot take them tardy. There's no makeups, and we'll drop the lowest of 3. That's midterms. Okay, the final is not dropped. So we'll drop the lowest of 3, and we'll keep the best 2. If you're here for 3, now if I always tell students if you're in the if you're in the ER, get the nurse to wheel you in a wheelchair up to the test. Or in a gurney, get them, to truck you up to the back entrance. I'll open it up for you and get in here to take if we have to, take the roof apart and lower you by ropes from a helicopter, that's what we'll do. Because you definitely, class is one thing, missing a lecture, that's one thing. You don't have to do any special excuses or anything. If you're absent, you're absent. But test days, yeah, you definitely want to be here for that. So, and we only have 3 midterms and a final. Final exam, April 26th, engrave that into your mind. And it starts at 1 o'clock. All right, it's a Friday, but it's so we don't meet at 3. If you come in at 3:30, It's been nice knowing you. You're not going to be able to take the test. Because my rule is on exams, if you're tardy, if you're so tardy that you come in after the first person has turned in their exam, which in this class could be 15 minutes, believe it or not, 15, 20 minutes, you can't take the test. All right. And the final, if you come in at 3:30 on April 26th, I guarantee you that most of the class will have already finished. So you're going to be SOL. So make sure you engrave that. By the way, the Avogadro calendar that I set up in web courses, well, I set up on iCloud. Raise your hand if you've actually tried it out. Okay, good. It was a little bit flaky there, but I fixed it. And that that has all our exam dates and all our lecture dates. And I think it has a few other dates in there. I don't think it has homework dates. Those are every Friday anyways. But you can use that to set alarms for yourself, stuff like that. Okay, grading procedure. Straight letter grades, A, B, C, D, or F. Hopefully there'll be a lot of A's and B's and not too many D's and F's. But you got to earn it. And I can tell you right now that by the end of the semester, you're going to have a lot of hatred for me. You laugh, but it's true. I mean, I'm humble about it. I'm not laughing. I mean, it's just a serious. I'm not saying that I'm the best teacher of all time, so I have to be humble. I make mistakes and stuff, and but I work hard. And the reason that many of you are going to hate me is because I'm going to really work you. We're going to really work. Don't shake your head. It's true. I'm going to do it. I saw this guy in the middle going, nah. But you're going to, and I'll just tell you a little story to demonstrate. It's a tale of two cities. You know, you you feel like you leave the class after the final, and you're cursing my name and all my ancestors, and mean it. And because I could tell, and evaluations, I could tell. I mean, some of the evaluations are. I'll share a few of you with it next week. But I had a student a couple years ago, 2013, in this lecture hall. And let me think. He sat right over here, kind of right behind the projector from my point of view. Okay, and he sat with his friends, and he did. We worked our. And he did a good job. He got a good grade. I can't remember what grade he got, but that class. I mean, some of the students on their evaluations, they were very, very rough. And it's actually depressing for me to read my evaluations for that reason. Because some students say, oh, he's great and everything, but a lot of them, say, the opposite. It's hard to read, but I read them. Anyway, so this student, he was in class and he passed, he worked hard and stuff, and he got a decent grade. And the next semester, no, 2 semesters later, I'm in my office in the physical sciences building, grading papers or I don't know, doing something at my desk, and the door of my office is open, and all of a sudden there he is standing in my office, and in the doorway, and so I'm looking at him. How you doing? And I spoke his name, because I still remembered his name, and he came over and he said, Dr. B, I just wanted to talk to you. I said, okay, go ahead. And he was standing up there and he said, when I had you in that class, I hated you. and I hated your class. And I kind of knew it. I mean, I didn't, I can't tell whose evaluation is whose, but, there's a lot of students that wrote, I hate your guts, Dr. B, or the equivalent. And so he came up and he says, Dr. B, I hated you. And I hated your class. And I'm just looking at him thinking, okay, what's next? And, and I'm calm, I've lived a good life. And so I'm not afraid. But then he said this, but I'm so glad I had your class. Because when I went into my upper division class, he was in engineering. When I went into my upper division classes, I was so glad that you had taught us so hard because I did really good in my upper division classes. And so then I thought, okay, good. You know, and he sat down, and, I helped him get, what he did? He switched majors and he went to med school. So he has a degree in engineering, and that's pretty hard to beat. Engineering in med school. And he made it. I wrote one of his recommendations. So knowing that story, so I just say humbly, we're just going to do as much as we can, and you're going to work hard. And if you hate my guts, hopefully it won't be permanent, as it wasn't permanent for that guy, because we had a nice end to that conversation. All right, let's keep going. I want to talk about accommodations for disabilities and abilities. UCF is committed to providing reasonable accommodations for all persons with disabilities, and I share the same commitment. Students with disabilities who need accommodations must be registered with Student Accessibility Services, SAS, over in Farrell Commons, room 185. And the phone number is there on your syllabus. And you have to do that before requesting accommodations from me. Students registered with SAS that need accommodations must initiate contact through SAS and Knights Access. And the SAS address is there, the web address is there. No accommodations will be provided until the student has used the SAS Knights Access system to request accommodations. So if you have for your other classes some kind of an SAS accommodation, just get your paperwork rolling. And I know I've got some paperwork from a few of you, and so every semester we'll have a bunch, and especially in a big class like this, and we'll handle it. It's good. We know exactly how to do it and stuff. So, but you got to get the paperwork rolling, because I don't initiate it. You guys do. All right. So if you know about SAS, you know that. All right. Now, and if you want to talk about accommodations, send me a message through the inbox messaging in web courses. Don't post it in discussions, and don't use email. Okay, just use the inbox. All right, mandatory exam attendance. Okay, attendance at exams is mandatory. All right. And so what that means is there's no makeup, there's no, can I take the test early at 2 o'clock, Dr. B? There's no, can I take the test at 5:30? I got a plane, I just got off the plane. No, we just got to go by the schedule that we've got. Now, university excused absences are only for religious observances, intercollegiate activities and athletics, military call-ups, and university verified family or medical emergency. So I think we're okay. Passover and Good Friday are both on the same weekend, but I don't think we have any exams then. And so I think we're good, but if if I've overlooked anything on the schedule, we'll work it out. So, and that would be considered an excused absence. Um, intercollegiate activities and athletics. So if you're on a team or one of the clubs or something, you have travel dates, your advisor, your club advisor or your coach will give you something called a program verification form. And that has all your travel dates on it and your name, the roster of all the people on the club or the team. And you'll give a copy of that to me, and then that'll be considered documentation. University verified family or medical. Uh, yeah, so that's like family emergency. That's like Hurricane Irma, and you got to go and help your folks down in Miami, or dash, or what was this last one we just had? Matthew, Michael, that blasted into Panama City and up there. Okay, that was Michael. So, and last semester I had some students that they got blazed by that, and their folks, and they were up there and stuff. So that's what that's about. And of course, medical means you're in the emergency room or you're at the hospital. All right. It's physics. Now, this is important. This is a standard paragraph for the entire physics department. It is physics department policy that making up missed work will only be permitted for university sanctioned activities and bona fide medical or family reasons. Authentic justifying documentation must be provided in every case and in advance for university sanctioned activities. And that's a reference to the program verification form. Because your coach or advisor already knows your travel schedule, and so they'll be able to do that well in advance. At the discretion of the instructor, the makeup may take any reasonable and appropriate form, including but not limited to the following: a replacement exam, replacing the missed work with the same score as a later exam, and allowing a dropped exam. Now take your syllabus and underline and circle a dropped exam. That is what we will do. All right? And that's for midterms. Nobody gets to drop the final. All right? That's mandatory, undroppable. Now, make notes or just listen carefully, because sometimes there's a little bit of confusion about this. If you have a doctor's excuse, you're in the hospital in a full body cast on exam 2, all right, so you have an excused absence. But that still is a dropped exam, right? And you still want to give me your doctor's note from that hospital stay, or whatever the normal excused absence reason is, religious holiday, military orders, what have you, right? You want to give me that documentation, even though that absence is excused and will be the dropped exam. That means your other 2 exams, hopefully you won't have another one that you miss, those will be your 2 for the semester, all right? If you have an unexcused absence, like speeding ticket and they had to haul you to jail for the day, or for whatever reason, that's not an excused absence, but that will be your dropped exam too. Now here's the difference. If you have 2 unexcused absences, you're in real trouble, because then you'll only have 1 midterm on the book, so you're down 40 points, or however big my midterm is this semester. We'll go through that in just a minute. But if you have 2 medical excused and both are documented, so you have a body cast for 1, and then you what can you have after a full body cast? A brain transplant for your second one, or whatever. So 2 valid medical. Now, what we'll do in that case, we'll do a rearrangement of your grades, and to give you a different grading basis. So for us, the grade basis is 240 points. But if you have 2 excused medical, God forbid that becomes the case, or like a medical and then a religious holiday, both excused, Hopefully that doesn't happen for anybody. But if it does, then we would rearrange your grade versus two unexcused, 2 little stays in the jail or whatever, explaining it to the judge, then you're stuck with just one exam grade. And you're still on the 240-point basis. All right. So, and let me just also reinforce that you do not have to give me an excuse from the doctor if you're missing an exam, missing a class. All right. And that's class participation, and you got to be here for that. Okay. So there's no excused absence for class participation. You can't, participate if you're not here. And I've made it a fairly small part of the grade. So if you don't want to do any class, if you don't want to use your iClicker the whole semester, uh, it's only 5% of the grade. So, all right, let's keep going. Next paragraph in the syllabus, what will we be doing? The formal curriculum topics are mechanics, waves, and thermodynamics. And we have these because the powers that be in this land of the USA kind of expect that this kind of information and knowledge will be helpful for you in your future careers. Okay, so, and I looked it up, over 50% of this class is in some kind of health or medical science major. It's like 225 out of 288. So that's a lot of you. So and those of you that are aiming for med school, and a lot of you are in here because of MCAT. Now, the people that write MCAT are a bunch of doctors. So they know that they think that doctors and dentists and everybody else need a little bit of physics to understand what the heck they're doing in med school and so forth. So that's why we're doing this. Now, to assist with your learning, we have lecture and we're going to do homework. It's fairly basic. And there's going to be written homework. That's going to be your homework grade. You're going to have a lot of stuff to study with, and I'll recommend homework problems, but I'm only going to ask you to turn in one of them. Okay, it's up to you to work out the other ones at your own pace and so forth. And then midterm exams will be written problems, and the cumulative mandatory final exam will have written problems as well. So you may be asking yourself, well, Dr. B, why are physics problems so important? Some of them are going to be kind of challenging. And, you're not going to become a professional user of physics, most of you anyways. Some of you will. And actually, I think there's a couple engineering majors in here. That's good. But, not many of you are going to become astrophysicists. That's all right. All right. Because you're going to be working on problems much tougher, including life and death, if you get into med school and you pass all your boards and everything. And in those problems, the fact that you can hack a physics problem and think laterally, think, analytically, what you learn in baby steps here in this class will help you save the life of a little baby in the NICU. And my niece is a neonatologist. She just lost one the other day. Every single one that she loses, she cries. And, and that is a difficult problem, and it's life and death. The engineers, all they got to do is design bridges. And if the bridge falls in the water, hopefully your car is not on it, but otherwise. But, a doctor, so, doctors have life and death. Dentists sometimes too, life and death. And so so you're not going to be doing acceleration and F equals ma in the NICU. But because you worked on problems here and acquired the skill of thinking scientifically, yeah, you're going to be able to uh, answer those questions later on in your career. And so you want to be good at it. All right, general policies. All general UCF policies apply, especially see the Golden Rule and the UCF Creed. There's the two website addresses. Goes without saying. And just so you know, I don't know if I mentioned it on Monday, but um, we've had some cheating in this class in the past, and I know a lot of you are under pressure to get grades. All right, and if you're tempted to cheat, that's on your conscience. But I'll tell you what else is on my conscience. Uh, Whoever I catch cheating gets crushed like a bug. And the UCF Creed, the Golden Rule, all that stuff. We're just going to use that like a hammer. So don't do it. We catch you, you're going to be toast. Just get the grade. You'll find it's hard, but you won't be able to. It's not going to be impossible to get a good grade. Lab grade. A couple students asked me about this. It's going to be 20%. So that's 48 points on our pointage basis. And so and I'll give you a little hint. Most of you are going to get all four, you're going to get 100% of those. And at least over the last summer, this one lab section, mysteriously, every student in the lab section got 100% in their lab grade. They're all geniuses, I guess. They're all heading for Harvard Med School or something. I don't know. But anyways, so we'll convert that to 48 points. So let's take a look at the task list. And this is where all the pointage will come together. All right, so here we go. The different things, their pointage value, and then the fraction of the semester grade that we have. All right, so midterm 1, 2, and 3, 36 points. And so we'll take the best two, 72, drop the lowest. So that's 72 points possible. That'll be 30% of your grade. Homework, 36 points, that'll be 50%. And notice that is exactly equivalent to one midterm. So if you do well on your home, you can't work with your neighbors on midterms. I mean, it's a test. But homework, yeah, I encourage that. And when we're in, Kevin Green is down here. He's just kind of looking at everything. But on Wednesdays and so forth, we're going to be working on problems, and we're going to encourage you to work with your neighbors and stuff. Form little groups and just kind of work on stuff together. And Kevin will be flitting around the classroom, giving wise advice and everything. And I'll be doing the same as well. And that is the same size as a midterm. So if you take 3 midterms, keep your top 2, but one of your top 2 is still a little stinky, but you have 35 out of 36 on homework, that's nice. That's a nice chunk of change. All right. Participation, 12 points, so 5%. And I literally did think we'll make this so small that you could drop it completely and still get 95% and get an A. So that's everything in this class is optional. Attendance, whatever, Final is 72. Now that's my tradition. Some instructors are different, but I traditionally make my final exam the size of 2 midterms. Now our final exam is actually going to have a little subunit that's equivalent to a midterm. All right, so like maybe 30 points of it will be like the last midterm, and then 42 points will be like everything else in the semester, because our third midterm is about 3 weeks before the end of the semester. So we'll have about 7 or 8 lectures after the last midterm, and that's about equivalent to enough time for another midterm exam. All right, so that'll be built into the final. We'll talk more about that in April. There's lab, 20%. Final is 30% of your grade, and total is 240. Now, we'll have a few opportunities for bonus points. Sometimes I'll make a test, um, possible, 2 bonus points or a special bonus point problem, 3 points. And so you could possibly get 39 out of 36 on the midterm if you crush everything. And so sometimes I do that. And toward the end of the semester, we may have a few bonus point study assignments of some kind. So, but not a huge a lot. Okay. There's never going to be anything that like the classics undergrad student. Regrettable remark is, well, yeah, Dr. B, I only came to like 5 classes and I didn't do any of the homework, but can I do a worksheet for extra credit so I can get a C? And we're not going to have anything like that. That's like fantasy land. Why are you closing up your books? Dude, we're not done yet. We got a lot of stuff to talk about here. Homework, 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 homework. As I mentioned, there'll be plenty of optional homework problems, and I'll recommend you a list from chapter 2. I might do it on Friday. Take these problems from chapter 2, optional. And then, you work them out on your own or with study partners or something. And I may put, on occasion, some multiple choice stuff inside web courses, and that'll be optional too. But every week there's going to, starting next Friday, not starting this week, but next Friday, there'll be a written problem to turn in at the beginning of lecture. All right, so right at 3:30 sharp. All right. And it's if you turn it in, at 4:17 p.m., it's tough noogies. We can't accept it for a grade. All right. So now the way that's going to work is I'm going to say, okay, everybody, for instance, everybody with last names from K through N, give your homework, come and bring your homework down to me, and that'll be about 40 or 50 students, and I'll be grading those really carefully. All right, and I'll be grading them for 8 points. Okay, the rest of the stack will go to the TA. All right, and he'll grade those for 2 points each. So he's going to be blazing through those. He'll be looking for an equation maybe or a diagram, the final answer. Okay, and so he'll be spending maybe a minute on each paper, but I'll be spending several minutes on your paper. So and so what we'll do is from week to week we'll have different random groups, that I take, and then the rest go to the grader. And so by the end of the semester, we'll have 12 assignments. All right. We'll have 12 written homework assignments, and every one of you will have 2 graded by me. So by the end of the semester, I'll have been able to give you, potentially, if you do all your homework, 2 problems with my theory of, and comments about the problem and your solution. All right? I'll be grading it. I won't, and commenting on it. Now, the rest of these guys that are graded by the TA, those will be, that's 20 points possible, and that'll be a little bit easier to get good grades on those, right? Because he's not going to be looking at them very carefully. All right, so you're going to have an aggregate of 36 possible points if you do everything. And the thing is, look at it, 10 points or 10 assignments, 2 points each. That's more homework points than your 2 that I grade. My 2, they only add up to 16 of your points. All right, and also, just to let you know, everybody will have access to my solution by Friday evening. Now, we're not done yet. I'm going to hold you. I still got a few things I want to show you. All right? And this is pretty important because it's already in place. I've put together a study archive. Now you go to the home page, and down here at the bottom, it says Study Archive. You click on that, and you'll see this page here. And it's explained in here. These are problems in PDF and EPUB, whichever you like, that I used in 2015 using a different textbook. So I have to give you the problems. The PDFs in the third column are my solutions for those problems. Now, those will be a nice study tool for you. You know, we won't have those problems because we're not using that book. But you'll be able to, you know, eventually you'll be able to work through those problems in parallel to the ones that we do assign this semester. So this is a study archive, and I've got the first batch. This will take us all the way up to exam number 1. And I'll put together a few more bunches as we go. All right, and I want you to take a look at that. Now, the last thing I want you to do is look at this. This is the exam schedule. Midterm exam 1, 2, and 3, and then the final. And we've already talked about the final. You've got to be there at 1 o'clock p.m. sharp. The other exams are on Mondays, so that you have the entire weekend to get yourself ready. All right? Now, I'll talk some more about exam procedure on Friday, and then we'll get down to chapter 2. If you have a question, come on up to the front. You're dismissed. No homework except to read chapter 2.